Hello guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to tell you how to overcome fear of speaking English in public. I will break down what's the psychology behind fear, what's trigger it, how we as a human become so fearful, and finally how to manage it. If you're interested in this topic, continue watching this video. Okay, after a break, I found a perfect timing for shooting this video. It's 30 minutes before this cafe's close time, so if you hear it's quite quieter, so the less noise you can hear in the background. Yeah, I think it's the perfect time. It's a less human and less noise. If you can hear me. Do you hear me? Do you hear my voice? What is fear? What makes us so fearful? I think fear is kind of emotion that can prevent you to do something, that it will arise when a threat happens, or something that we perceive as a threat. And actually is in psychology it's a form of survival mechanism that is wired to our body or brain, and then when our mind identifies something as a threat, then it will affect our body, and then it will make our body like trembling or anxiety, and then our breath will become more faster, and it just prevents us to do something unknown. I think that is fear. Is this emotion can be triggered by certain things, like it doesn't have to be threat like death, but it's also like darkness, heights, social interaction, or rejection. And in this video, what I want to discuss specifically is this trigger, like the social interaction, if you know what I mean. If you can be aware of this fear when it's happened, I think it is something like something that makes you feel, I don't want to feel shame, or I don't want to be humiliated, or I don't want people to perceive me as dumb. Or when we specifically talking about fear of speaking English in public, we are worried that those audience in front of us will notice that we are talking shit, or we do not understand what we are talking. That's our thoughts about ourselves, even though it's not necessarily true. It is just, it actually not yet manifested, but your mind already jumped faster to the future that this is gonna happen, when actually it's not true for you. And it prevents you, and this fear prevents you from doing something that you are doing, especially doing something that afraid you, doing something challenging, something that like a land of the stranger. It is the unknown that you're afraid of. What if the constant what if that arises in your head. Yeah, especially it's only the worst case scenario that could happen in the future that you're experiencing now. Meanwhile it's not the truth. That's what I learned about fear. It is the rejection that we try to avoid, and then it stops us from doing what we do or achieving our goal in life. And when we talk about specifically about speaking English in public, you're just afraid of that humiliation, the possible outcome that is not yet happened, but you feel that is already happened. Sounds silly if we succumb to this feeling, it's easier said than done. I get you, if you feel like that, I get you guys, because it is happened to me when I'm going to do something new, something very challenging, and I always, this emotion is kind of always arise in that state. I will tell you this specific example that when this fear arise, if you're one of this that always experiencing fear like me, I get it, guys. I relate to you because it's happened to me also a year ago. I did a presentation at the open mic the MLA community. Disclaimer here, sebuah pengakuan that I am a very fearful person. I always been fearful and anxious ever since I was a kid, but I am also incredibly curious about something. If there is one thing I've learned from this constant fear that happened in my life, is it is like there's a voice in my head that's saying, do not do something new, or we don't know the outcome yet because it will end to death. That is this fear trying to say to me. I think it's really a disaster way of living life if we succumb to this feeling, and I don't want it. That's why I push myself through and then keep doing this presentation. I keep registered. I challenged myself to do it because this is something that I really wanted to do my whole life, master at public speaking and can telling something valuable to audience, to people I meet. Okay, let's back to the story, and then I keep registered and then trying to do this open mic. I do the preparation, write the script a night before the event, the presentation. But guess what? What happened? It's really not perfect, you all. It's not perfect because naturally I'm a fearful person. I'm an anxious person. At that time, I couldn't even have a time to look at my cheat sheet because I was very anxious. My eyes looking at all the audience that looking at me curiously. When my mind went blankly, I don't know what to say. I forget my script. I forget what I want to present. That's the anxious mind. You get it, right? Because that's the reason you watching this video, because you feel, you relate when this fear arise, the anxiety. Your mind would be jumping here and there, and that's what happened to me in the midst of the presentation. I just wanted to give up, and I want to just give up and stop the speech and go to the toilet to calm myself at that time. But in the midst of that, there is this inner cheerleader in me that said, you, Sophia, you have committed. This is something that you really want to do your whole life. What's the worst could happen? Maybe it hurt, but it will not make you, you're not gonna die. You're not gonna die, and you are valuable. You are loved. This inner cheerleader keep pushing me, that keeping me stick to my goal that I want to master public speaking. I want to train my English. I want to train my confidence, and then I want to connect with people. Guess what? There were other participants that were way more confident and good at public speaking at the time. And I really adore them. I respect them so much. They're so amazing and so inspiring. remember at the end of the event, the host, Miss Vita at that time, asked us to vote who was your favorite speaker or who's the presentation that is touched your heart at that time. And Miss Vita asked us to write or enter in the paper. And guess what? This is really surprising to me. I got the most votes. I really didn't see it coming at the time, considering how much I stumbled. I was so stumbling over my words at the time. Yeah, this is all surprising, and I remember there's this one participant that reached out to me after the event and said to me, "You did really great," she said. "You brought such great topic, and even though it's not perfect, but you delivered it so well, and it came from your heart, and it was obvious," she said. And I'm really thankful for her, feedback at the time, and it was really amazing experience that I cannot forget. So yeah, that's my story. If one thing, if there's a one takeaway that we can get from this story, is that fear is a liar. It's not reality. Reality is actually what happens when you take action. This is what I learned. This fear is just your imagination that stops you. It's just an imagination that not necessarily true and do not happen at that time, but you just make it happen in your mind. People will not laugh at you. The fact is, no one laughed at me. They listened to me when I really shared my vulnerability. I'm talking about fear at that time, actually, and they all felt so related to what I feel, my struggle in overcoming fear. Yeah, because fear is just imagination, and you have to really get back and grounded to the reality. The reality is when you take action and you create step forward and do what you really want, and just keep pushing. I'm not saying that I'm completely dismiss this fear from my life. I am still a fearful person. I'm not saying I've completely overcome fear or that it no longer affects me. Ironically, fear will always be there. If it's already wired in our brain as a survival mechanism. I remember this quote. If Elizabeth Gilbert, the author of Big Magic, she's my favorite. She said, "The only people who have no fear in their life is a psychopath." And that's so true. I don't want to be a psychopath, and I just accept that this fear is always gonna be accompany me when something really challenging, and it will always arise, but I will remember, don't let it drive your decision. Just put them in the back seat. Just imagine, like, when you want to go to somewhere in a car, this fear will always be our friends. It will arise when something triggers you, and then when it happens, you can hear your fear, what he say, but just put it in the back seat. Don't make it take over your driver's seat. You are in the driver's seat, and you are who have to lead your life, to not succumb to this feeling. And that's always my mindset when facing this feeling of fear. It's so cool, and this cafe is gonna be closed soon. Okay, just to put it in a summarize, that actually in psychology, fear is wired into our biology as a survival mechanism. But if it ever start to paralyzing, don't let it take the driver's seat. just put it in the back seat, and you can hear them, acknowledge it if you need it, but remember, only you who decide where your life headed. And my last advice to you is to remember this quote by Jordan Peterson. I will read it for you. To be fully self-conscious means that you're perfectly aware of your limitations and how you might be hurt, and then to make the decision to move forward into the unknown and land of the stranger anyways. That's one of the secrets of a good life. Thank you for watching this video. I will really appreciate. And my camera ran out of memory. Thank you for watching. I'd appreciate your comments below. If you have any questions or opinions, I'll see you soon in the next videos. Bye.